Hey guys, welcome to Ingo's Restorations. So today, I've already taken one off, well, almost all the way off. The race is stuck. I got to get this off. But this is the one side of my son's 318i. It's a 1985 E30. His bearings don't look too good. They've been making noise for a little bit, so we're replacing both of the front ones. So I've done this one, but I'll go through the process on the other side so you guys can see how it's done. I've already got the car jacked up. It's on jacks. So obviously the first thing you're going to want to do is you're going to need to remove your tire. All right, be back in a bit. All right guys, once you get the wheel off, the next step you're going to want to do is you're going to want to take this piece off of here. This is like a little dust cover for the grease that's inside here. I had a little bit of difficulty taking off the other one on the other side. I tried to order this from Pelican Parts in California new, and they say it's not available. So I'm going to try to have to see and look around what's going on. Maybe somebody's making an aftermarket one, but it's a little bit difficult getting it off. So be careful, because you may, I don't know as of right now if I can find these new or not. I would assume somebody has to be making them, but you never know. So yeah, you can just take either a little punch or a little chisel, and it's right around here. You got to get it here and pop it and get it to pop out. Maybe a screwdriver or something like that, whatever you got. So that is the next step. Go ahead and pop this off. I'll be back in a bit. So I was able to get it off. It's a little bit dented. Not the end of the world if I do have to use it again, but I'm hoping I can find a new one. That's why I tried to order it to begin with, so I wouldn't have to worry about it. So once that's off, the next thing you need to do is right in here. This nut has a locking collar. What happened is whoever installed this bended a tab right in here. So you need to unbend that tab and bring it back out. Okay? So that's the next step. You can clean off the grease a little bit so you can see what's going on, but there's a little tab sitting right here that needs to get bent back out. It's part of this right here, this ring that you see going around here. Okay, so that's the next thing that needs to happen. All right guys, hopefully you can see that. There's the actual tab, and that tab was right here. This one actually broke right off, which is fine with me. So the next thing you need to do is it's a 36 millimeter. I have an impact gun, and so I'm just going to use that. It works fine. If you don't have an impact gun, you're going to have some difficulty sometimes working on these cars. So I would recommend that you try to get one if you can. But if you can't, what I would recommend that you do is you take the center cap off of your wheel and remount your wheel here. And that way, I would not recommend that you and the book also, the Bentley book also just says that when you're going to try to take these off, that you're not sitting just on jack stands. I mean, it's up to you. Yeah, you work the way you want to work. It's not something that I would do, but I would get an impact gun and just take it off. But if you don't have one, you can either put the wheel back on, make sure you take the center cap off of it, and you can put the socket and everything back on it, and that way you have some leverage with the ground, and you can use a big breaker bar and take it back and take it off that way if you need to. And then you have to lift it back up and put it on jack stands and all that good stuff afterwards. But yeah, so that's what I'm going to do now. I'm going to use my impact and take off the loosen it all the way. Now I'm going to take it all the way off, but I'll loosen it up. I'll show you something in a minute. All right guys, I'm at my next step. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and remove the brakes, the caliper and the caliper holder here. I'm going to take this all apart because I'm not sure if we're going to keep these rotors or if my son wants to buy new ones and new pads. I'm not quite sure what he's going to do there, so I'm going to go ahead and disassemble this and hang it up here. Before I start taking this off, a couple of things. There is an Allen key here which holds the rotor in place. You need to take this off. I usually put something like a screwdriver on the other side here, because this one's going to be turning this way, to keep this from moving, and just break this loose, and that way I do it before I have the caliper off. And if you've got some of like the E28s, they've got the fins in here for the air. You could just stick a screwdriver in there and hold it. A little tip too, one thing that I always do on this bolt is get yourself a little bit of anti-seize, Permatex anti-seize, like like a graphite lubricant, and just put a little bit, not a lot, just a little bit on there before you put this in here. That'll keep this Allen key from seizing up inside there. It's actually on the wheel hub, and you're going to want to do that because if that seizes up there, it's just a small little screw, and to get it out is a real pain. So just add a little bit of lubricant, a little graphite lubricant on there, and it does really well. The next thing I was going to let you guys know, when you go to take this off here, so this one's a 13 mil, but what you're going to want to do is you're going to put this 15 mil on here and hold it. And the reason why I say that is if you start taking this off, this will start spinning, and you could end up ripping the rubber on here. So hold it with the 15 mil, and then take this off with the 13 mil. So you've got one here, and you're going to have this one right here. You take those off, the caliper will come off, and then there's two 19 mils, one right here. I'll show you when I get this off. Just give me a minute. Okay guys, got that off. So there's one right there and one right here. These are two 19 millimeters. You take this off and this bracket will come off. This whole bracket will come off from here. Now I forgot to mention that because this is the left side, it does have the wear indicator, so you will have to deal with that. Make sure you take it off, and you can see I've got it hanging up here on the bungee. So you don't want it to be hanging on the hose. So I'm going to go ahead and take this off now. I already loosened up the screw that's ready to go. So I'll take that off too. I'll take off the rotor and get ready to pull the wheel hub off. All right guys, I am ready to go ahead and try to pull off the wheel bearing assembly. Go ahead and I put my puller on here. I put a little Allen key in here because if not, this shaft, the screw will go right into the shaft quite a bit. So I put this in here, fit nicely. That's what I used on the other side too. It worked out real well. So this is how I've got it set up. I'm going to go ahead and try to pull it off. Hopefully the race comes with it, but we shall see. I'll be back in a bit. So this one came off a lot better than the other side did. It's still in pretty bad shape. You can see not looking too good here. That race fell off over there. You might have seen that I had left the nut on here while I was starting to pull it. And that's only because there's some components. This one doesn't appear to be that when it pops off pretty quick. And I leave the nut on there just in case, so it'll hit the nut and doesn't come flying at you. But this one doesn't seem to be like that. So the race on this one is still on here, but the good news is I actually have some space behind here. So you take off these three 10 millimeter bolts that are right here, and that takes off this disc brake cover, and then I should have plenty of room to be able to get my my puller behind that and pull that race off of that. So this side should be done with that. The other side, I still got to figure out what I'm going to do. I may even have to go buy another very small little puller to get behind it, pull it off. I just don't want to. You don't want to mess up this area right here. It's got to be smooth. It's got to be clean. So you don't want to mess that up. So I'm going to go ahead and take these off and go ahead and pull it off from there. So this part is done. We are still waiting on the bearings to come in, like everything else. And during this time, it's been delayed, so they're not here. But I wanted to get this off. I've got a trip that I'm taking off on. But anyways, so that's it for now. And then I'm going to go ahead and I'll probably keep this as one video, and when I go ahead and at least put one together so you can see how the process is of it going back together. But that's it for now. We'll talk to you later. Bye.